Hello everybody and welcome to another Vintage Fans and More product spotlight, sponsored for the first time by Linari. Since last year, I've watched Linari launch and begin to grow their curated line of ceiling fans. Social media algorithms quickly put their accounts on my radar and I was immediately captivated by everything they're presenting. I've been in this space working with brands for a long time now, so when a company hits on a certain vibe, I pick it up right away. It's hard to put into words, but I could feel something special radiating from the brand and products even before heavily interacting with them. In the midst of trying to line up potential new brands to bring in for this year, and most of them not working out for now, I decided to reach out to Linari, and I'm so glad that I did. Turns out they were also keeping an eye on what I've been doing, and it was immediately evident that we speak a lot of the same language when it comes to industry philosophy. Every day there are new random, faceless fan brands popping up, racing to the bottom to cut cost in an attempt to win the lowest entry online customers. Linari stands out in the landscape with strong personality, invested interest in showroom sales channels, and commitment to high quality goods. I love getting behind smaller brands like this that I think are moving our industry forward, while also giving them my own little extra push in the search results. Curated, intentional lines like this are some of my favorites to feature because you can feel the passion behind each painstaking decision and minuscule detail. Right now, Linari only has 3 base models in production, with size options for a couple of them, and for the first time ever, I will be able to show you a brand's entire current selection within one video. Linari has graciously provided a sample of each model so that both you and I can get the full experience and scope of the fans they offer. Let's jump in with the very first fan that showed up in my Instagram feed, the piece that had me hooked from day one. This is the Aerocurve, a relatively simple overall form that offers strikingly different details. There's so much to unpack here: the way the blades drape over the motor, the trend-forward scallop of the housing, and don't sleep on the fluted lens detail. So many unique elements and so many ways to make this fan blend in or stand out. It's available only as a 60-inch size, but in a wide variety of finish combinations. Options with solid black or white, brass accents, brushed steel, even simulated wood blades. There's an option for absolutely any space or vibe you want to create, and that type of range is really important for an early introduction to give it the best shot at mass appeal. Sometimes we see more investment in variety of models than variety of finishes, which can also be great to deliver diverse interest. In contrast, I really love when a brand offers a single highly universal fan with a ton of different options and combinations. It's nice to have that use it everywhere staple kind of piece, while also letting the buyer feel like they had a hand in customizing the look. It's even better when all that design flexibility is elevated by an individual appearance not found anywhere else. In a nutshell, that is what Aerocurve brings to the table, and it's damp rated for an even wider range of installation opportunities. All Linari fans are powered by DC motors, which I'm impressed with as a whole. They're very quiet and have a super gentle startup sequence, which is just a nice touch in comparison to some that really jerk themselves around. Aerocurve moves 7,007 cubic feet of air per minute at high speed. The Energy Guide average airflow is listed at 4,942 cubic feet per minute. These are great numbers for the size range, an initial indicator that Linari means business when it comes to performance. Included with all Linari fans is a handheld remote to control 6 fan speeds, reverse, timers, natural wind mode, and lighting where applicable, with a mountable cradle also included for storage. An accessory wall mount control is available for separate purchase if needed or desired, and I love that it's completely hardwired without the need to replace batteries. I like these controls a lot. They're pretty simple but very functional and unique to the brand, which is always a plus for me. The larger physical size of the handheld is always a little nicer for holding and a bit easier to keep track of than some of the very small control formats that are gaining momentum lately. Linari fans are also smart by bond, so you can utilize and integrate smart features or control the fan directly from your phone or virtual assistant. I've spoken on Bond and brands that utilize their platform before. It's a great system that works very well and allows many brands of products to work together seamlessly through one interface instead of brand-specific apps. Interestingly, the fan always turns on to speed 3 after being shut off from the remote and can then be immediately adjusted to the desired setting. If the power source is turned off or interrupted, the fan does return to the exact settings it was running before power was cut, so that aspect is nice. Controlling via bond with a phone or other smart device will set the fan to any specific speed from the start, so those operations are still quite seamless. Just a couple details that I found interesting, as I'm always intrigued anytime a brand does something completely different than I've seen before. This control system does provide an audible beep whenever a command is received, which can be polarizing and not always preferred for every installation, but it's subtle and not an overly abrasive tone. This is currently the only Linari fan that features a lighting option, and there is not a no light cap, so it is a required element of the design. Overall, it's a good LED module, very nicely dimmable, and a neutral 3000 Kelvin color temperature. Oftentimes I'm mentioning elevating lighting options with CCT Select or Warm Dim, and that would be great down the road, but this is a young brand and I don't expect them to have all the bells and whistles right away. It's already pretty impressive that they have the smart features across the board, and they only have the one model with lights right now, so big investment in the lighting components just isn't entirely necessary yet. For this one, the lens does a lot of the heavy lifting in elevating the lighting aspect, and I actually appreciate that just as much as I would the advanced features. I absolutely love that it's real glass, and it brings in some of the high-end lighting influence that's been on the upswing for new fan intros, without being a massive or overbearing statement piece. Just an interesting different detail that adds a textural element. This is a newer trend starting to pop up for the industry at large, as I think people are getting tired of the typical white glass or plastic lenses. There's a lot of room to introduce different pattern or texture, even on the simplest of lens styles that can be otherwise flat, boring, and repetitive. You'll start to note more of the multi-dimensional attention and layering of elements with this product selection as we continue exploring other models. Aerocurve's defining details set the initial tone for the Linari brand, but this is only the beginning. Let's take a look at their next intro, which pushed into an altogether different realm of design and materials. This fan is the Forester. Initially I felt like this is the one I was least drawn to just because there are fewer signature design elements to it, but it turns out this is the one that surprised me the most. We'll dive into more of what I've been loving about this fan, but first the key details. This model is available in both 52-inch and 60-inch sizes and 3 curated finish combinations. I'm showing the 52-inch brushed steel with natural blades. As mentioned, it's also a DC motor smart fan and utilizes the same control system, just without the light button, as there is no lighting option for this model. Likewise, it's damp rated for use indoors or in covered outdoor applications. This 52-inch model moves 5,898 cubic feet of air per minute at high speed, and the Energy Guide average airflow is listed at 3,835 cubic feet per minute. These numbers lean a bit more into the average realm, however these blades are very chunky carved wood, which is an element that can bring performance data down if the shape isn't just right. With that considered, I'm impressed with how this fan actually feels in person. That was one of the major surprising elements. I've worked with a lot of products and designs now to the point that I can often visually assess and get an idea of how a blade design will perform and distribute airflow. Every once in a while though, I'm taken aback when my expectations are exceeded. Despite the less aerodynamic structure, the blade surface is very wide at the ends, allowing great surface area to drive some solid movement, and the distribution isn't overly choppy. I think the swept back shape and smooth taper maximize the capability. These blades are truly the defining feature of this model, while the rest remains subdued, almost utilitarian. They're solid wood, perfectly imperfect, and finished to let the natural beauty shine. I honestly wasn't sure if I was going to like the proportions of them, but in the end I really do. I'm big on details when it comes to fans, so sometimes even just a statement blade being a little off can ruin a design for me. These have a very grandiose feel, making the fan seem larger than it actually is, and the central convergence into a raised point is the kind of architectural detail that I think makes or breaks a design. Entering in a little skeptical with this one and ultimately being won over, I think speaks volumes about Linari's design sensibility. They're pushing popular market designs like this one a little outside the box, but not to the point that it becomes uncomfortable. Even the finish combinations speak to this approach. Forester is available in simpler refined options, but each has a motor or blade finish that feels individual to Linari. I absolutely love the brushed steel finish used on this fan. It's in the usual nickel silver kind of realm, but it's a very bright tone with only a subtle visual texture. Set off against the soft elegance of the natural blades, it's a real showstopper. I'm also highly impressed with some of the practical elements built into this design. I've worked with a lot of fans that require removal of the housing to mount the blades, Forester being one of many. These designs always offer an incredibly seamless look once finished, however, it's usually just a lot of time and excessive screws during the assembly process. Most people seem to be intimidated by all those kinds of steps when installing ceiling fans, so this one simplifies things. The housing is manufactured as 2 pieces instead of the typical single piece, and has only 3 screws to remove, 1 to take out entirely and a couple on keyhole slots. Once loosened, the required portion of the housing lifts away quickly and simply. While not entirely practical for every fan that requires this step, it's very smart design that reduced assembly time by several minutes. I'm very impressed with these early indicators of ingenuity for the brand, which makes me excited to see what other common annoyances and frustrations they might be able to resolve. Forester really combines engineering ingenuity with practical design, which is the perfect precursor to the next fan, the crown jewel that won me over on this brand. This fan is called Hexanova, and when Linari launched this model, I simply had to get my hands on one. I'd been following their progress, but this design was the real driving force in my desire to reach out. It's in the realm of several popular designs already out there, but this one strikes a completely individual chord. Paired with Linari's impeccable finish selections, there's just nothing else that compares. Hexanova is also available in 52-inch and 60-inch sizes and a range of different finish pairings. Right now I'm showing the 60-inch size in black with walnut blades. Again, it's a DC motor fan with the exact same control setup as the Forester, as there is no lighting option. Like the other models, it is also damp rated. This 60-inch size moves 6,489 cubic feet of air per minute at high speed, and the Energy Guide average airflow is listed at 4,403 cubic feet per minute. Obviously, the 52-inch size is a little lower, in the mid-5,000s for max CFM. My thoughts here echo the Forester. Considering it's a more substantial carved wood blade, this model provides good performance for the category. The slight upward sweep of the blade also provides really nice area coverage, something you don't always get with this type of style. Despite solid airflow from the entire product selection and pretty utilitarian speed ranges, all the Linari fans I've worked with here today have an understated gentleness to them. Even talking low speeds, where I'd still love to see 30 to 40 RPM to really take the aesthetics to another level, the airflow is light and the designs still achieve an ambiance that would normally only be set by a slower RPM. That's a pretty impressive testament to the caliber of design, just another layer in the depth of this brand. Hexanova spoke to me in particular through the simple contrast in its 2 key elements: carved wood blades of an organic, free-flowing shape, and the motor banded with a mesh that feels not only a little industrial, but introduces a specific feeling of being heavily manufactured. The perfectly aligned perforations in the mesh provide juxtaposition to the natural beauty of the wood blade. A lot of designs in this realm try to minimize the impact of the motor styling to let the blades shine, but Hexanova amplifies both, while still maintaining an ultra-slim and minimal motor profile. This entire motor structure is also incredibly unique, as the mesh allows some see-through that adds a different kind of visual play. Inside, the actual motor is very compact, maximizing the payoff. Then you take in the remaining details of the unique canopy and coupler cover shapes. I love that the profiles were echoed and the shapes are the perfect balance to bridge the blade and motor elements. On that note, I have appreciated the variety I've seen in Linari's canopy systems. I think sometimes too much variance in mounting systems can get a bit messy when it feels like unnecessary reinventions of the same basic systems, but I do love to see canopy shapes specifically catered to the fan styles they are paired with. Linari keeps it relatively simple with a couple very universal bracket sizes that can accept different canopy styles and screw mounting types, which is exactly what I like to see, as opposed to each fan using a completely different system. While it could be easier and more cost-effective to use a universal canopy for every design, customized canopies are a greater investment into the product selection, and really can set a great design apart from being just pretty good. For me, every detail of this fan is spot on, and the simplicity of each individual element comes together into something with beautiful depth, while being both laid back and elegant. Even the details of the finished coordinated blade hardware and center cap are perfectly placed. Small components that add interest and bring something individual to set this model apart from the others in the line. Linari doesn't necessarily have all the range or features of large established brands yet, but they're checking a lot of the main boxes in fundamentals, which is the ideal starting point for a growing brand. With fans like these writing the story and setting the foundation of their philosophy, the trajectory for the future can only be upward. Linari has entered the market with fresh, intentionally designed products made to elevate high-end spaces within an attainable price bracket. I'm so impressed and incredibly thankful to connect and collaborate with a growing brand like this. I work with a lot of great products and companies, so bringing in another to showcase always needs to deliver something specific. When you can immediately feel the passion and dedication driving the brand and see it reflected in the product, it's a whole other kind of experience, and that's what makes these fans shine that little bit extra. A massive thank you to Linari for providing the entire range of fans for us to collectively experience. It was a unique opportunity to cover everything they've done so far, and I can't wait to see what else they come up with. Be sure to check them out on socials. I've linked everything in the description, and while you're there, check out my accounts as well. On Instagram, I've been doing some new product highlight posts and have more things rolling out in short form video, along with more supporting content for Linari as this video goes live. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell here on YouTube before you leave to get updates for all of my new videos. I've got more new products coming up soon. Thank you all for watching today, and I will see you next time.